Welcome to the All Gave Some podcast, where we'll be discussing all things related to military veterans, with an emphasis on mental and physical health, as well as finding and maintaining a pathway to financial stability. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about benefits. What benefits do veterans have? What's out there for you? And mainly I wanted to talk about this because I think there's a lot of veterans that aren't being rated. I've been meeting a lot of veterans lately while doing the podcast and researching for the podcast. And just in general, I run into veterans all the time. I live near an Air Force base here in Northern California. And I'm constantly talking to veterans who either don't have a rating or have a rating, a VA disability rating that is much too low for all of the things that they have going on with them health-wise, both mental and physical. And that is stifling their financial stability. And they deserve to have better representation and to be taken care of. So mainly what I want to talk about is this is going to be a quick episode. You know, it's just a sort of a heads up, check it out. Here's some information for you. And what I want to talk about first is your regular veterans claim. So I don't know how long, I don't know the statistics on how many veterans are not getting a claim started with the VA when they get out, or how long it takes them to realize that they should and actually start the process. I know for me, it took me a while. It took me a handful of years before I finally started the ball moving and went through the process. And I've still been going through it regularly for the past 20 years. It's sort of a never-ending cycle almost. But I just want to give you some quick stats. If you are somebody who's gotten out recently or who's been out for a long time and never went to the VA and decided you weren't going to get a rating because A, it was too much of a hassle for you, or because B, you thought maybe you didn't deserve anything, or maybe you're worried that there's nothing there for you. I'm just going to tell you right now that I'm going to give you some quick numbers. Just, the VA rates you in increments of 10% generally. So the lowest you'll get is 10%. Highest you can get is 100%. Fully recognized disabled based off injuries, both mental and physical. And I just want to give you some numbers here real quick because what you might not realize, if you're thinking maybe there's nothing wrong at all, but every now and then you get that ringing in your ears starts up, right? It's called tinnitus. And I don't know if you've ever dealt with that. I think many people have it, but the military recognizes if you're somebody who has qualified with a weapon regularly in your time in service, or worked on heavy machinery, or been around loud aircraft, or things of that nature, the VA will actually compensate you for that ringing in your ears, that tinnitus. And I believe usually it starts out at about 10%. So that'll get you in the door started right away. If you have that ringing in the ears, you can start off by getting your initial 10%. And I'm going to look here. If you go to va.gov, you can look at the compensation rates. And the rate for 10% right now is $171 a month. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but we'll look at some numbers here as well, because you actually get a little bit more per dependent that you have. That's a spouse, and I believe up to 3 children. Per spouse, for your spouse and per child, there is increments that number can go up. But the more important thing is getting your foot in the door, getting started with the VA, getting familiar with the system, and just getting your claim started and start something coming in. Get your bank account information in there, the whole process. Because then you can start with that, and then you can start being looked at for other injuries. You rolled an ankle back when you were a private or back when you were an airman, and now that ankle's starting to bother you 20 years later. It's hard to walk. It aches when you get out of bed. You might have some residual effects of that injury that you sustained while you were in the military, and you could go get checked out, and that could be another 10, 20, 30%. And with every 10% that you are increased, so is your monthly compensation. So, with that being said, let's take a look at something here. For my audio listeners, I'm going to be reading some articles here. For the YouTube audience, you're going to be able to see it because I'm going to pop those up for you. But I will have links and stuff available. And again, if there's any information that I missed links or anything like that, and you want that information, please don't hesitate to leave me a message on whatever platform you're on. Reach out to us. You can Our email and everything will be on there. So yeah, reach out. Let me know if you need anything. Let's move on here. So let's go back to this, to va.gov, and we can go to the compensation rates for disabled veterans. And now again, we started off with 10%. We were looking at what you get for 10%. 10 to 20% actually, I think I may have misspoke, because 10 to 20%, they don't account for spouses. That kicks in for spouses and children. That kicks in at 30%. So I wanted to reiterate that just to make sure that I'm clear on that. So you could start the process with your 10%. Let's call it the tinnitus, right? Ringing in the ears. And then maybe if you had the ankle to it, then you could get yourself up, or, you know, whatever issue you have. Maybe you hurt your back, or you had a surgery, or, you know, again, if you fought in combat and you're in Afghanistan or in Iraq or Iraq, most of us who came out of those two theaters of combat have been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. And that usually starts out somewhere between 30 to 50% alone, just by itself. So I just wanted to be clear about the fact that the 10% to 20%, not adding the extra stipend monthly for your dependents. But once you get between 30 and 100%, that kicks in. And I wanted to just kind of take a peek here real quick at what those numbers look like, because it does go up substantially over time. So 10% is $171. 20% jumps automatically to $338. And then we start moving into the territory that is, once you've been in the system a little bit, or once you've been diagnosed with certain amount of things, that will then bump you up past that 30% mark, in which case then you would be able to have your spouse and your children, you'd be eligible for that extra bump. Let's see here what we got. So compensation rates 30 to 60%. And again, we're at va.org, and you could just, we'll have links provided, but if you want to look it up, you can go straight there. Let's see here. 30% starts automatically, $565, 40%, $800, 50%, $1,144, 60%, $1,444. And that is with no dependents at all. But if we scroll down here, we can see, again, for my listening audience, I am showing some articles here, and that's why there's a bit of a delay. Let's see. So one child, one spouse, 30%, $730. Again, that's with a child, a spouse. You're about $700, 50%, $1,400. And it just goes on from there. And so I just wanted to let you know, because I don't think a lot of people are always fully aware of the benefits, what the actual numbers are, and what the raw data is for the number amount attached to the VA rating. And again, automatically, if you served in combat, you probably have tinnitus and you probably have some form of PTSD, and that gets you close to 60% right there, in the ballpark usually. Now, again, I'm not a VA. I don't work for the VA, and I should put that disclaimer out. I don't work for the VA. I'm not a expert in any way, shape, or form. I'm just throwing out some simple numbers that I'm seeing from va.gov, just to get your mindset in the place of thinking about, hey, maybe I should go get checked out and see if I can qualify for some of this, because you earned it. And the hardest thing I think for a lot of veterans to realize is that you deserve it, you earned it. And, you know, a lot of people went to bat for you to write laws and to allocate funds to have this in place for you. And it doesn't run out if you use it and somebody else doesn't. It's there for all of us, is my point. It's there for every veteran. There's enough there for everybody to get their piece of the pie that they not only deserve, but are owed. And you definitely deserve it. And you are owed that, because you gave what you gave of yourself for your country. And now your country has a lot of this for you so that you can be made whole. And so I just wanted to reiterate that for you. And then, so that's just the basic about getting your foot in the door, getting into the VA system, starting your claim process. You know what I mean? And realizing that it's not as hard as it seems. And also, if you need help, please reach out. There's definitely people that I can put you in contact with who not only whose job it is, but whose passion it is to get you started, get you filed, get your rating, and help you get the highest rating that you deserve based off whatever it is that your medical history from your time in service dictates you should be receiving. So please leave me a message, reach out to me. However you want to do that. And if you're somebody who is in this field, in this profession, and you're listening to this and you have some insight and some information, also please let me know. Again, I'm not an expert, right? I'm just a veteran who cares about veterans, and I'm just trying to get this information out. And this is me going on the internet and researching what I can find. Things have changed, and these numbers are always changing, right? Every year there's budget allocations, and the finances move up and down. Things change, So again, if you need help, reach out. We'll get you in the right place. If you have the knowledge that can help, reach out, please let me know. If I'm wrong about something, I'm happy to correct it. And if you're willing to help other people and you want that to be known, please let me know. We'll get you. We'll send people your way. So that's the main spiel I have for you for just for getting people their foot in the door at the VA, getting you starting that claim process, because that's the most important part. Once you're in there and you're all logged in and you're on the portal, you're in the platforms, you're in the system, you're in the medical system, everything's dialed in, you have your ID cards and all that stuff. It makes it so much smoother after that initial in processing for you to be able to then continue to file different claims and search out, different things that are available to you as time goes on and things change. You'll be able to easily navigate that system. So that was the main part. There are a couple of little things that I thought were kind of cool that I just wanted to add to this that are available to all veterans and also disabled veterans as well. One of the things that I thought was cool was this is in California, where I'm at, the CalVet, and this is at calvet.ca.gov, where you can get a disabled veteran sport fishing and hunting license for $10. And I mean, I know that I'm not a hunter myself, but I do fish a handful of times a year, and I've always gotten the reduced fee fishing license. But I just thought it was really cool because I know that hunting and fishing licenses are pretty expensive, and especially in California, they're getting a lot more expensive. But this was one thing that I thought was really neat. So you can go online. I would go to calvet.ca.gov and just look up their policy for submitting your paperwork and whatever you have to do. Because I know once you're in the system again, even for this, I just go to like Walmart or whoever issues fishing license, and I'm in the system. So I just show them my ID, my military ID, and I get, the cheap fishing license. It's under $10. And I do that every year, whether I think I'm gonna fish or not, because why not? That way I always have it. And I end up using it a handful of times. I don't fish as much as I would like to these days with 3 kids and, a wife and everything else we have going on, but it's nice to have. And so I just wanted to throw that out there. And this is just California, but I know that other states have similar things for you in this vein. And I just was trying to keep it to the recreational sports stuff, because I know how helpful that is to a lot of veterans to be able to get outdoors, spend some time in nature. It's always healing for me. And a lot of veteran buddies that I talk to, just getting out of the city, being able to breathe, getting out there in nature. For those of us who don't have the luxury of being able to do that regularly or living in those environments, it's super healing. I take the dog, I go for hikes, take the kids out, go fishing, try to get in the woods as much as I can, get around the water, go to the beach. My wife loves the beach. And, so if we can find some assets there that are helpful to us, then we should take advantage of it. That's for sure. So let's move on here. This is one that I thought was pretty neat. So if you go to nps.gov, that's nationalparkservice.gov, this is something I found out recently. I wasn't even aware of. They have now, as of, I believe, the end of 2022, the government has now allotted a free lifetime pass. So, new lifetime pass available for military veterans and Gold Star families to access public lands. This is free entrance to national parks, wildlife refuges, and other public lands. I thought this was super cool because, it can be pricey when you're trying to take 5 people to national parks. We all know our national parks are protected, they're beautiful, and it's an amazing experience. And so this is actually a program put in place. And I'm going to read this article here from nationalparkservice.gov, dated November 8, 2022. Let's see, that states, one second here. Okay. That states, today, the Biden-Harris administration announced that starting on Veterans Day, November 11th, veterans of the U.S. Armed Service and Gold Star families can obtain a free lifetime pass to more than 2,000 federal recreation sites spread out across more than 400 million acres of public land, including national parks, wildlife refuges, and forest. This is awesome. It goes on to state, there's a quote by Secretary Deb Haaland, who states, "We have a sacred obligation to America's veterans. This new lifetime pass is a small demonstration of our nation's gratitude and support for those who have selflessly served in the U.S. Armed Forces." So again, I think this is pretty cool. It goes into, you get your $10 hunting and fishing license. You get your lifetime pass free to the national parks. And I've read some other articles here. I can find more information if you need it, but I've read more stuff here that goes on to explain that these passes, again, are lifetime, but also there's parking fees that are involved, that it waives parking fees for a whole carload. And it's not just for you, it's for your whole family. So your whole family gets to go in for free, up to a certain amount of people, which is, again, amazing. So you get to save that money. You get to get out in nature. It's an incentive too to get out and do some healing and get back to, relaxation. And it's good for your peace of mind. For me, somebody with, who's dealt for many years with PTSD and traumatic brain injury, it's helpful. And so if we go on, I scroll down here further along at nps.gov, there is a link down here that says participating federal recreation areas. If you click on that link, and this is how you're going to get your pass. So obviously there's links that you can send in your information. They'll walk you through it. And I think it takes a few weeks from what I saw for most people in order to get their pass back if you wanted to do it online. But there's also multiple federal agencies all around us that where you can just walk right in. And I'll explain this to you here. It says veterans can present one of the 4 forms of acceptable ID: Department of Defense ID card, Veteran Health ID, Veteran ID card, or veteran's designation on a state-issued U.S. driver's license or ID card at the participating federal recreation areas. And you can click on that link for the federal areas here, and it has some drop-down menus. So you click your state. I'm in California, so I would scroll down here. I click California. It says, then you click on pass type. You drop down, you click military pass. And again, for my listening viewers, if you go to the YouTube video, it's free. You can watch this YouTube video too and see all of this that we're doing here. You click on the federal agency and you click on all of them. You click Bureau of Land Management, Fish and Wildlife, Forest Service, National Park, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. And then you hit search, and it's going to give you a list. So right now I have 133 results. And I just scroll through these. I simply scroll through it and find out the place and area that's closest to me. So if and this isn't closest to me necessarily, but if I look here, I'll just stop the Arcata Field Office of the Bureau of Land Management. And there's a link that I can click on for that, and it'll send me to their office. I have their phone number, give me their address, and all I got to do is stop by with my ID card, show them, and they'll issue me my lifetime national park free access pass, which I think is pretty awesome. Lifetime pass available for military veterans and Gold Star families, which is pretty cool too. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. And then let's see. Here's another thing, another resource that I wanted to point out too, because those two things I thought were kind of cool. I always like the fishing license one because it's drastically reduced in price. And then I dig the national parks free pass too. But if you go to military.com, there's a link provided, but military.com has what benefits are you eligible for as a veteran? If you're just curious in general, because I'm only touching on a couple of little things here and just trying to twist your arm a little to get you in the system, right? And maybe you need some help there. And some motivation really is what you needed. I needed motivation to get in. It took me years. I didn't want to do it. So I'm trying to give you some motivation for that. But I'm only giving you the tip of the iceberg, right? There's a whole lot of other things that are out there for you as a veteran that you're eligible for, that again, you deserve and are entitled to. And so military.com, there's an article here posted November 11, 2022, and it states, as a veteran, you know you're eligible for benefits. However, it can be very difficult knowing exactly what you are eligible for and how to go about getting everything you're entitled to. There are many things you may be eligible for, including free medical benefits, discounts on hotel rooms, free fishing license, and more. While no list can cover all the benefits you're entitled to, this page will help you know what you're entitled to and how to get all that you deserve. And so I'm going to scroll down here and we'll take a quick peek because there's quite a bit involved here. But I'm just going to read it off and I'm not going to go over a bunch of this stuff, but I just want to give you a list of what military.com says here that are probably some of the more important things that you're entitled to. And that is VA disability compensation, which we talked about, VA medical benefits, which again, everybody, if you're a veteran, you're entitled to free healthcare through your nearest VA clinic. So again, make sure that you take advantage of that because that's been huge for me, for sure, especially when I was younger and didn't have any medical coverage. VA home loan, which I've also used, which is a huge asset, not having to put any, not having to come up with the normal 20-30% that everybody, usually you would have to come up with up front to buy a home. You have a VA home loan as long as you can sustain the payments and your debt to income ratio is balanced out properly. You don't have to put any money down on a home loan. So that's available to you. Education benefits, I'm sure most of us are aware of. VA pension, readjustment counseling, educational and career counseling, confidential counseling and support, federal hiring preference. It's kind of cool. They front load veterans for certain jobs. You can apply to them specifically as a veteran. Well, they'll front load your application because it's a federal job and you're a veteran. Multiple discounts, state-specific benefits. Obviously, every state does something a little bit different for their veterans, and a whole bunch of burial options. So that might not apply to you right now, but it may in the very distant future, we hope. But maybe you have some family members or something like an elderly parent or grandparent, and maybe they're not fully aware or they're not able to convey to you that they have those benefits. Maybe they don't know. And maybe you're trying to figure out what to do in the near future with them, or something maybe have happened, unfortunately, at their elderly age. If they were a veteran, there are veteran burial services available to you too, just in case you didn't know. And you can go to military.com and you can scroll through this list and click on any one of these links that you're interested in, and it'll give you a vast amount of information on each one of them, which is awesome. Because the information's out there. And again, we don't always know that it's out there. And so let's see, VAClaimsInsider.com. I went to this one this morning and just to check out again, because I know they were updating some stuff, and they have like a list of 25 things. And I know some of this stuff is going to be the same as what we just talked about, or read off from the military.com list. But I always like the VA Claim Insider, because it gives a little bit of a different perspective, and some of the things that are out there. And everybody updates their information differently and presents it in a different way. Again, I'm not going to dive too far into each specific benefit that is on this list, but I do just want to kind of read them off because there may be some that we're missing, or we could the way that it's worded can spark some interest, and maybe you can think about it in a little bit of a different way. And so VAClaimsInsider.com has their top 25 list, which I go to, like I said, pretty often. And number one is VA disability compensation. Again, get your foot in the door, start off with whatever you got to start off with, talk to a professional, get yourself in the system. VA special monthly compensation benefits. So this wasn't on the other list, but there are some benefits that aren't necessarily regular disability. They're called special compensation. And there's a whole host of those that most people have no idea about. And you may very well be eligible for one of those. And so you can click a link here. Again, that's VAClaimsInsider.com. You can click the link here to any one of these and get some more information, specifically on what the special monthly compensation benefits are, and see if any of them might pertain to you. Let's see, moving on here, the article goes on to explain there's a banking program, there's no-cost healthcare we talked about, and prescription meds. So again, the last list talked about healthcare, but this one also adds prescription medication. So healthcare is huge. Obviously, it's a huge hardship financially, but medications also are a problem too. So are expensive. So you have no-cost healthcare and prescription medications covered. Moving on, we see travel allowance for scheduled appointments. For scheduled appointments for care at VA medical facilities and VA authorized healthcare facility. So what that is, once you start your claim process and you end up going, you have an appointment somewhere at the nearest VA clinic, you might have to drive, and so you'll get compensated. Basically, is what they're saying. So for however many cents per mile or whatever it ends up being, you end up getting a pretty good compensation per your trip there and your trip back. So that's something that's kind of cool. Let's see, moving on, number 6, disabled veterans property tax exemption. Now, this is different from state to state. Some states, if you're a certain percent disabled veteran, you have zero property tax. Some states are a percentage of what your property tax are based off, certain parameters that they go off of. But that's another thing that I didn't even know existed for a long time until I started going through lists like this and realizing that I actually qualified for some of these things. And that was one of them. So that's pretty cool. Let's see what we got here. Keep moving on. We have a waiver for VA funding fee for home loan, vocational rehabilitation and employment. Let's see. We have additional compensation for eligible dependents. So if you're at a certain percent disability, maybe your wife and your children are eligible now for certain compensation, or for free education benefits, or training programs. There's a lot of stuff involved with that too that we don't think about because we think of ourselves as the veterans, and maybe those resources are there for us alone. But if you're at a certain percentage based on where you're at or what state you're in, your family can also be compensated, and there's some resources there too. So again, I'm not going to read all of these, but some of the important ones, like CHAMP VA medical insurance, for instance. If you're unemployable, disabled, considered to be 100% disabled, you can file for CHAMP VA, which is the medical insurance program for your family. So you already have free medical, but you may be able to, your wife and your children might actually be eligible as well to receive free medical, which is awesome. Let's see, we have dental care, and again, a whole host of burial and funeral benefits for those who may qualify. I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. Let's see, the use of commissary exchange, health and welfare, morale, and recreation. So this is basically you being able to go on whatever nearest military installation is near you and be able to shop there and get the discounts that you used to receive when you were still active duty. That's pretty cool as well. And your family. So I know that we live near a military installation. We could take our family on and go shopping, go eat some food, go bowling, all at the reduced cost that I used to enjoy back when I was active duty. I can still enjoy those benefits now as a veteran with my family. And so I'm not going to continue on here, but like I said, VAClaimsInsider.com, there's a whole bunch of things on here. All of those have links. You can click on them individually, and it'll be able to walk you through some of this stuff, which I think is awesome. So again, quick little episode here just to talk about benefits. Just to recap, if you have not started a claim with the VA, I would urge you to please get your foot in the door. Even if you don't think that you deserve anything or there's anything wrong with you, get in there, get looked at, get checked, because have a professional go over your medical records. They might say, hey, look, you have this here. You're eligible for compensation for some of this stuff. And I promise you, every veteran that I talk to who's not gone through the system, who we've gotten into the system, has found out that there's something there that they're eligible for. So you'd be surprised. And sometimes it's a lot more than you think it is. And it can be life-changing in some instances, that's for sure. So please get your foot in the door, get started, get some medical treatment, especially if you know you're having some issues. Don't wait, don't stop. Don't feel like that you're taking away from other veterans who may have it worse than you or that you don't deserve it. Neither one of those things are true, could not be further from the truth. You deserve it, you fought for it, you earned it, and it's there for you. It was created and placed there specifically for you and for everybody else who served. You're not taking away from anyone. Please, I couldn't reiterate that enough. And again, go to check out some of these links. Go to va.gov, VA Claims Insider. Check out what's just available there just for the normal everyday veteran, because there's a lot of stuff that maybe we're not taking advantage of. And check your local state too, your state and county, and see what benefits are there for you too, because you might be surprised. So really, that's all I had for you today, man. I thank you guys all for tuning in. Again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave a message, like and subscribe on whatever platform you're watching or listening to this on. That helps us out hugely. It helps with the algorithm, all that stuff I don't fully understand. But thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, thanks so much. We'll see you guys next time. We got some great guests lined up in the future. So we're going to keep this ball rolling, keep supporting veterans. Thanks again. God bless.